right, folks, thank you for joining us this evening. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting called and convened this evening, November 8th, 2016. Having called the meeting to order, I'd like to ask Councilman Lee Dumas, if he would, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then pronounce an invocation for council this evening. So please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this night, and thank you so much for this special day in this country that we live in, that we had an opportunity to elect a new set of leaders. We're so fortunate to have this opportunity, and so many folks have died who've come before us and paid the ultimate price so that we had the ability to show up at the polls today, and we're so thankful and grateful for that. Grateful for this state that we live in and this great city that you've allowed us to serve. We hope that we'll do your will tonight. Pray for the people of the city and those that serve the city and the staff that are here as well. Go with us, lead, guide, and protect us in your ways. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ms. Duncan, do we have anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
Then we'll move to the council meeting from October 25th. The minutes of that meeting are contained in your packet. Do I hear a motion to receive?
A motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. That will move to the administrator's report. Mr. Driggers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Some items to make you aware of, and a couple of calendar items as well. One is to make you aware that our crews from the town of Mount Pleasant have returned here to our community. As we informed you earlier, we had 4 individuals, 2 crews that went down with our equipment, our knuckle boom trucks, some of our loading equipment. Those 4 individuals were there for a 7-day period. We brought that crew back and refreshed them with 4 additional folks who went back for another 7 days, and they now have completed that work there, while the town of Mount Pleasant is still actively involved in their cleanup. All of our crews have returned here to the Greer community. Our 8 individuals over that 2-week period collected 121 truckloads of debris, which equated to 3,388 cubic yards of debris. As the city administrator of the town of Mount Pleasant shared with me, we could not have done it without your fine people. And so I wanted to express our gratitude to you for allowing us to be able to partner with the good folks in the town of Mount Pleasant. As I mentioned earlier, representatives from the city of Anderson and also the city of Rock Hill participated in providing some additional help to those folks as well. But our mutual aid agreement with them, should we ever need assistance relative to a storm or condition here or an ice storm, the town of Mount Pleasant stands ready and prepared to assist us as well. Great use of our resources. Again, we will be completely reimbursed through their FEMA funds for our personnel and our equipment, so there is no cost to our taxpayers, some lost productivity for us. So we were glad to get those folks back into town on Sunday evening. And as they arrived Sunday evening, Monday morning, we immediately put them out on leaf collection because our leaf collection started Monday morning here in our own community. So you may have information from some of your constituents inquiring about that, but we are, our crews are already on the streets, and we will follow the schedules that we have published and put out for our folks. We had an opportunity to dedicate our new Center for the Arts last Thursday evening. We exceeded our own expectations on what we thought our turnout would be. We were hoping that we could get around 200 or 300 folks to come out for that event, and we had around 400 to 500 that came out. Strong support from the community around the auditorium property. Many of our neighbors that live in that area came to that event and had an opportunity to tour the artist studio spaces. They spent time on the grounds, had music there. It was a great evening for us to be able to kick off that center, and very, very thankful for the community support of that as we continue to move forward. You may see that some things are starting to look a bit like Christmas. It takes us about 4 weeks to decorate the city, and we allow ourselves an additional week for, in case of bad weather, inclement weather, and so that's the reason that we have started the installation of our Christmas decorations. You'll see those are starting to go up on Wade Hampton Boulevard, and they'll work themselves into the downtown area, but it takes staff from both our Public Services Department and from our Recreation Department to be able to get those all those installed. And again, it takes us about 4 weeks to do all of that installation, and as a result of that, it's necessary for us to get started. That way, we're able to avoid any additional costs. We don't bring in part-time labor, we don't bring in contract labor, and we don't do overtime. We're able to schedule and absorb that into our normal work crew. So we think it's the most effective and efficient way to do that. But we've received a few phone calls inquiring to the early installation. But this is when we start each year. So we're glad to go ahead and start getting those up. If you were looking for Saturday morning breakfast with Santa tickets, you may have missed the opportunity. We sold nearly 600 tickets yesterday in 1 hour. And the event is completely sold out. It is great that we have such a demand for that program. As you are aware, we've expanded that program over the last several years, but we want to make sure that we're maintaining the quality of that program. We want that to be a wonderful experience for the children and the families who come and participate in that. And doing those 3 sessions at full capacity on that Saturday morning is really the resource that we have available to us. We are always regretful that there are members of our community that would like to get those tickets and that they were unable to do that, but we open it to the entire community at the same time. We do limit the number of tickets that people can obtain to the event. It is just extremely popular. And we're very, very fortunate for that. So that event is sold out at this point, but we're excited that we'll have those families and the children in on that Saturday morning. Again, that's the first weekend in December. As you know, the evening before, we will do our tree lighting ceremony on that Friday evening, and we're looking forward to that. Join us here at City Park for that event, and of course our community Christmas parade on the Sunday following that as well. So a lot of activities beginning to blossom here in the community. Some of our folks, many of our folks, are involved in some customer service training. Wanted you to be aware that we do regularly offer customer service training to our employees. We're actually hosting that through our Recreation Department this time, but making that available to all of our frontline personnel. Again, we do this periodically, but it's a great opportunity for us to remind our staff that we have an obligation and a responsibility and a desire to provide high levels of good customer service, quality customer service, and we're continuing to train our staff, our employees in that regard. Looking forward to that. Also had an opportunity last weekend, myself and other members that are involved with our Partnership for Tomorrow program, particularly our Community Master Plan program. We had an opportunity on Friday of last week at the Chamber First Friday event to give an update to our community. That update has now been posted to our PlanGreer.com site and to our PFT Greer website. So if you are looking for additional information on how the community is moving forward in that community master plan, there are updates provided on our websites for that as well. And we're encouraging folks to go and take a look at that. A couple of calendar items that are happening, and again, we will send some additional information. You may have noticed one of the things that we're now trying for you is to send calendar items as invitations to events. That gives you an opportunity to accept or reject that. That also enables us to be able to determine whether or not we need to provide accommodations for you at those meetings. So I appreciate those responses that we've received so far on various events. But just as a couple of reminders, we are honoring our team members who are veterans of armed forces. We are doing that this Friday at a luncheon. It's a smaller event than we have done versus the entire organization being involved. This is an event that we're bringing in our veterans and honoring them on Friday of this week. And if your schedule will allow you to join us, we would love to have you participate in that event as well. One of the larger events that you would be involved in is our business awards program that's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, and also included in that is the Mayor's Business Award that's presented annually. That will be taking place on November the 17th on a Thursday evening. Many of you have responded of your attendance plans with that. But if you can join us, we would love for you to be able to do that. If a guest can join you, just let us know. We'll make sure that those arrangements are taken care of. And then we'll send some additional information to you probably by tomorrow or the day after, some information concerning our safety recognition for reaching one of our benchmark milestones. And we're excited about that. We exceeded 400 days without a lost time accident, and we want to give some recognition to that event, and we'll be doing that. I do have a couple of items that I will need to ask Council's consideration of in executive session. One is a contractual matter, and the other is an economic development matter. I would need to ask Council's consideration of those two items, an economic development and one contractual. And with Council's permission, I would like to ask Mr. Glenn Pace to join me up front for just a moment. He and I both have an award that we would like to present to the city. Mr. Pace, if you could share some information about how we participated in this with Council.
Okay, we had a South Carolina State Planning Association conference this year with Georgia in Augusta a couple months back, and it was very well attended. Well, we have certain awards that we do every 2-year cycle, and we submitted the community master plan for the city of Greer as a small urban project for the city. And we were honored to find out that we were the recipient of that award against some pretty stiff competition, from what I understand. And we were able to receive that award, so I was scheduled to be there anyhow, so I was able to attend and have that award presented to us with some great accolades that went along with it, and in presentation before 2 states, I think really was a good thing also. The 2 states got to hear that, with well over 400 people in attendance at that conference. So it was an award that I think is well deserved of the city, and receiving that for our master plan and our ability to work with master plans and show that we don't put those plans on the shelf, we put them into action. And I think that was the main focus of that.
So we appreciate Mr. Pace being there to represent the city and receive the award on our behalf. And what we would like to do this evening is present that to council and to the mayor to go in our hardware case. We are being very, very blessed that we're being recognized not only in our own state but in other states. But the South Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association recognizing us for an outstanding planning project for 2016 for a small urban project. And so very, very pleased and glad for
our community to be represented that way. So, Mayor, I will certainly present this to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
We are going to have a chance to receive that award because it is based off population. And we'll be exceeding that in 2 years.
Get a new trophy case.
That's right. That's right. That concludes my report, and I'm certainly available to answer any questions if any members of council may have any.
Thank you. Appointments to boards and commissions, which we wouldn't typically be addressing at this point in time for District 6. Ms. Albert, we've got, it looks like an immediate resignation by Mr. Dewey Tarwater from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Mr. Tarwater has served faithfully for a number of years, and we'll miss him immensely. But you will need to get together with staff and find a replacement for the board.
I will. And he had sent me an email, and he's been having quite a bit of sickness. And due to his sickness and all, he just felt like he was missing meetings, and so he just felt like he would just go ahead and resign due to his sickness.
All right. Thank you. We need to make note of that and see if we can find a time to appropriately honor him. He's served, I know, for at least the last 16 years that I've been here in some capacity, so we need to recognize him.
Definitely. Okay, good.
We'll move to items of new business this evening. The first of which is a resolution to adopt the City of Greer Hazard Mitigation Plan. This does require action, and the Chief is with us this evening to give us an overview of the mitigation plan. Chief?
Mayor and members of council, the item is to request that you formally adopt our hazard mitigation plan update. As you're probably aware, we have to update that every 5 years. This project has been going on actually since before I got here, so I am very happy to finally have this wrapped up and ready to get your approval on. This is a formal adoption, so once we adopt this, it will become our hazard mitigation plan, and it will give us some tools to work towards the future in mitigating any hazards that have been identified in the community. But it also plays another role, and that is in order for a lot of the grants, the federal grants that we apply for, we have to have this plan in place. And going forward, we're going to try to incorporate as much as possible into the 2 county plans. That way, we won't have to necessarily do our own plan every 5 years, but we can incorporate those into the 2 county plans. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Council, on the recommendation of staff, do I hear a motion to receive?
A motion?
Second. I have a motion and a second. Further discussion or questions of the Chief? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Harewood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council's second item before us this evening is an ordinance amending the City of Greer zoning code to amend Article 4 definitions to include the North American Industry Classification System and to amend Article 5 Zoning District Regulations Section 5.8.2 uses permitted by special exception to include retail alcoholic liquor stores. Mr. Pace?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. We did have a request to amend our ordinances to allow for the application of liquor stores to be allowed inside C2 zoning. Currently, the only zoning classification that we do allow these types of operation is C3 commercial, which is primarily Wade Hampton Boulevard and some other main corridors here in town. But with this request, we also placed some other special restrictions that would go with this type facility, because we normally had always in the past looked at C2 zoning as what we call our neighborhood commercial type zoning, uses that would be a benefit to those residents. But along with the person that requested, or agency that requested, which was the development arm that has constructed our Lowe's Food Corporation, or Lowe's Food site here, which is very successful, and looking forward to filling those spaces there and doing quite a good job with that. So after some discussions with them and some back and forth on some additional requirements and all, that if we did allow this to happen, it would be by special exception only, and they would have to meet the criteria in regards to this. And you have those, I think, as part of your packet, so if you have questions, I'll try to specifically answer those questions.
So that would be located across from Riverside High School, is that correct?
That is
in that
correct.
shopping area there with Lowe's.
In the 10,000 square foot retail space that they have available, where it would be.
Other, it was not allowed within such a distance of the school? And wasn't there something regarding the church and the school?
That's state statutes, and those will be still applicable to anything that operates in that capacity, and they would meet, where it would be located in that center, they would meet those requirements of state statutes.
They have a 10,000 square foot space they want to put a liquor store in?
Not just, that's all those shops there. I'm sorry. That's a big liquor store.
Yes, it is.
No, sir, it'd be a smaller retail unit there on that 10,000.
So are there no other regulations with it being so close to the school?
There are, again, state regulations that they can't be within 300 feet travel distance of normal pedestrian or vehicle travel, and that also includes churches and playgrounds and other items like that. We did not go with any standard regulating that because the state standard is very restrictive in its view, and we do have the opportunity to place those where we would like to see them in certain zoning districts. The travel distances, if this were in the county, would be 500 feet, but it's reduced a little bit when it's inside a municipality to 300 feet because of life safety issues and concerns like that, that we'll be able to respond to those immediate needs quicker than what the county would be able to.
Was that our distance before this request or before this variation or request come in? I mean, was it 300 feet?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
For the city? So that wasn't changed or anything?
No, ma'am.
So we would be voting just on, well, this would give them the chance to open it right there.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. This would place a criteria in our zoning code, and then they would apply strictly to the Board of Appeals and have to meet the requirements just as we did for, as a part of the same district and same restrictions under special exceptions. For like many warehouses, you have a description of things you have to meet. That would be the same for the liquor store, with A through F being requirements that they have to meet before the zoning board could approve that location.
What would be the difference in that and Lowe's? I know Lowe's Foods, they have that little bar thing set up in there, and
Well, that's the difference between beer and wine versus alcoholic liquor. The two difference of the license.
okay, so
You
you're talking
can't
about beer and
sell.
wine at Lowe's and hard alcohol at the...
Yes, ma'am, because you cannot sell the two intermingle. It has to be totally separate facilities in order to do that.
I don't think I want one over there that close to the high school. That would be,
high school. And middle school students are always walking up that way, up those sidewalks and everything.
They're using the sidewalks, yes, ma'am.
oh yeah.
I'm proud of that sidewalk.
We think I might.
Would you be afraid they would go in there and buy something? Is that the problem?
Well, just the,
Be for me, yes.
hopefully not, but.
Lawfully not.
No, lawfully. Lawfully and hopefully. You know, we do have dishonest people.
Yeah, the lawful part is not an issue for me, because I've seen it purchased plenty
Nowadays,
of times.
they've got to be on their toes about checking ID. That's not going to happen over there.
Council, to proceed with the discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion.
This is just not for that location. This is for any area that's already zoned C2 to allow someone who wants to
Ask for that.
ask for that exception to open a liquor store.
Would that exception come before the council, or would
Doesn't
that
come
go?
before council.
The,
Come before
the zoning board, right, okay.
Yeah.
Once it's approved, then if anyone else come in a C2 and wanted the same thing, if the exceptions were there at like 300 feet and all that, then it would not come back to council.
That is correct.
Am I saying that correct?
The board,
Right.
the Board of Zoning.
So once you change that, it's changed and a new regulation.
And Mr. Pace, for clarification, council tonight, if you were to approve this motion, you are not approving that can occur in that location.
Right.
You are allowing the zoning board of appeals that they may consider that yes or no based on the stipulations that are outlined in the ordinance. Your action tonight doesn't say yes or no to
This
that
isn't
happening
saying,
there.
yes, you can put it in.
It is not.
otherwise.
No, ma'am. This action is allowing a text change and the ability for that to occur in a C2 location by special exception under these conditions.
And there's also another layer of oversight because we don't administer the state license for the liquor store. So there's an application that is made by the
That
state
process.
where if the school or the church or others wanted to make their voice heard, they do that directly to the state before a license would be issued to the store.
Correct. Yes, sir. That process is still in place, and appeals or licensees would have to advertise and do like they normally do for that, and anyone can stand in objection to any type of alcoholic type sales.
True.
They have to obtain that license.
Truth of the matter is, we basically only control zoning in regards to this issue rather than licensing or permitting or anything in that regard because that's controlled by the state.
Correct.
Others? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
No.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, next item before us is an ordinance to change the zoning classification of property owned by Habitat for Humanity of Greenville County, SC, located on King Street, East Fairview Avenue, and Moss Street from RM2 residential multifamily to DRD design review. Mr. Pace, information in that regard, please, sir.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Again, this is property that's been laying dormant for quite some time, and in the Sunnyside area there in a nice little side of town, nice little section right there. Looking at the pictures and everything, it's almost picturesque where it lies and how it lies between three streets.
The big triangle.
It's a big triangle. There was once, I think, 4 homes there scattered around. Some of them were removed. We demolished some of them through grants and all that we had in order to remove blight from the area. We've had several prospective clients come forth at different intervals throughout the history of that property requesting to do different things, and nothing's ever came to fruition. However, when the Habitat for Humanity came to me with the proposal to do what they're doing with 5 units, the front would face Fairview Avenue. There would be parking to the rear, provide some amenities for the residents there. Sidewalks would be all the way around the project, and had favorable looks at this. With it being a design review district, again, we see what's going to happen before it happens. And at this point, Planning Commission did recommend to approve the DRD zoning of that property.
By show of hand, is the owner of the property or representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? All right. I'll make note of that and maybe an opportunity for you to speak in just a minute, okay? I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So move.
A motion and a second. The floor is open for discussion or questions of Mr. Pace.
I'm glad to see somebody doing something with it, because it's just been an eyesore, grass all the time. I'm glad to see.
Those homes that they're proposing would look very nice, and I think introduce some real good benefits for that community.
Would you all like the opportunity to address council? Don't know. Yeah, if you would, just give us your name and
Monroe
position.
Free, President of Habitat for Humanity, Greenville County. I live at 602 Rosebud Lane in Greer, South Carolina.
All right.
This is a project that we have been working on for some time. We have some churches here in Greer who are very interested in building here in Greer. We've been looking for land, more land. As you know, we have a couple of developments here. We've been building with BMW and with Michelin in the last year over on King Street, I believe it is. So we're very active here. We believe our families can do well here, and we know that our families love moving to Greer. And so our pledge to you is that we'll build a community neighborhood there that you can be proud of, and that our families will be will be good citizens for you. We prepare them well so that they can be successful.
Questions? Thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate it. Council, comments, questions? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Aaronwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council an ordinance to provide for the annexation of properties owned by Le Jardin LLC located at 910 and 940 Brockman McClyman Road by 100% petition, and to establish a zoning classification of R15 for said property. Mr. Pace?
Again, Mayor and Council, this is property located down at the intersection there of Brockman McClyman and Vaughn Road. It does contain 55 acres. The purpose of right now would be proposed for 65 single-family dwellings on the 55 acres. This would be larger lots. As it is proposed right now, again, the density under R15 would be a little bit greater than that if approved, but the project is, again, here for you for first reading, has not went to the Planning Commission yet. It will happen in a couple of weeks for the zoning of this particular property.
By show of hand, is the owner of the property or representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Okay. Council floor is open for questions of Mr. Pace. For the purpose of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So move. Second?
Motion and a second. Further comments?
When does this, is this going to join this, be part of this other subdivision, or is it totally separate?
This would be totally separate. Heartwood would be as it is now.
Okay.
Not a good places right in there to connect the way that one was designed years ago.
Others? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Aaronwood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, you've got a colorful calendar there in front of you as we move ever so closer to 2017. Hard to imagine, but it will be upon us soon. And so you have before you tonight a proposed schedule of council meetings as well as some other items of note there along the edge that we will need to take action in regards to. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. I always catch Ms. Duncan off guard when I ask if there's anything that she would like to add to the calendar, but we'll give you your chance, Ms. Duncan. Anything you'd like to add?
But the schedule is included in your packet, and I brought the calendar this year as well. It indicates meetings through the Municipal Association on the calendar, as well as city-recognized holidays, along with our council meetings. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Good information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, comments or questions? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, in executive session, we have got two items to consider this evening, one contractual, one economic development. I'll entertain a motion that we proceed into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis? Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, in executive session, we considered two matters, one an economic development matter, one a contractual matter. We need to take action in regards to one of the matters. Do I hear a motion that we come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, any additional business this evening?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize you, the mayor, to enter into negotiations for a contract for the sale of a piece of city property.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council having no more business. Stand adjourned.